On April 20th, 2024, I stood on stage, and for 8 minutes straight, I talked about food and my mom. And as promised on the Confabulation website, writing the story was cathartic, and sharing it was a joyful reckoning in the best of ways. With family and friends in the audience, I experienced a collective sense of grief and commemoration. Walking off stage that night, after almost 3 decades of trying to come to terms with all that was missed together, I knew I had done my mom proud. Maybe some of you were in the audience that night, and you recall that there had been 2 other Iranian-oriented stories. There was lots of talk about korme sabzi. You remember the national dish of Iran? Fragrant black Persian tea and salade olivier. Anyway, as I was leaving the theater with my daughter and cousin, I stopped to say goodbye to one of the other storytellers. We had bonded backstage over our love of Persian delights. She was surrounded by 3 of her friends. They began to ask about my background. Mom, born in Iran. Dad, born in Iraq. Last name, husband's Ashkenazi Jewish. To try and clear things up, I volunteered my maiden name, to see if it would help. One of the friends' faces turned from polite curiosity to complete holy, am I allowed to swear here? Shit. She then said, "This is going to sound strange, but do you know, I saw the letter P, the first letter of my mom's name, forming on her lips." I dropped to my knees. She said it, her full name, first, last, maiden, married. "Of course," I exclaimed, "that's my mom." Her friends chimed in. "She just told the whole story about her." I sat in disbelief, the Rolodex just flipping through my mind. Could she be my mom's Persian friend's daughter, the one that was a doctor? "Are you Fafar's daughter, Parisa?" I asked. No. She seemed to take a breath. "I didn't know your mom, but I've been visiting her grave for the last 3 years. What? It's true. She proceeded to describe every detail of the stone, the design, the color, the dates, the inscription, the engraved flower. I was dumbfounded, completely shook. Of all the gin joints, in all the towns, in all the world, of all the gravestones, in all the cemeteries, in all of Montreal, she walked into my mom's. She continued, "It's a long story, but I walk the cemeteries sometimes, and your mom's stone called to me." I was completely flabbergasted. She said, "I've spent a lot of time there." Oh man, she spent more time there than I have. I only go a couple of times a year. I haven't cleaned that stone in forever. Blah, blah, blah. Arriving home that night, I called my brother in Lisbon, waking him up at 6 a.m. "How did your story thing go?" "Oh, it was fine. But you will never believe who showed up. Mom! Just at that moment, I received a text from my new friend. Her beautiful pictures of the stone, the etching of the lotus blossom. We got emotional. My brother summed it up. Mom was so extraordinary, she was able to connect with us from the other world. The next morning, I woke up filled with gratitude. I felt held, blessed by the universe. Over the last few months, I've clung to that feeling. And there have been other seemingly strange coincidences. My flight to Madrid gets diverted mid-air to Lisbon so I can hug my niece. I run into my mom's brother during my last hour in London. In trying to make sense of this, I recalled an experiment I had read about luck. Psychologists found that we can actually engineer our own luck. Was I suddenly aware of these chance messages and opportunities that had been there all along? Was I just noticing these coincidences? Or did my mom have a hand in this? Did this mean that was it proof that we can actually connect with our loved ones who had passed? My cup, my glass of black Persian tea is deliciously hot. Its rich, bold aroma fills me with comfort and joy. With this sign, this otherworldly gift from my mom, offered generously and so beautifully through my new confabulation friend, my cup doth runneth over. Cheers, santé à tous.